StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is a go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then here's what I'm going to do for you. We're going to put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, techniques, approaches, and one universal philosophy that is known as work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to stop giving yourself excuses. Yes, you've been giving yourself excuses. I'm going to tell you how you can stop giving yourself excuses. Now, before I get into this, let me tell everyone that I have a daily motivation text message that I want to send to your phone every single day. Straight to your phone, I'm going to send you a daily motivation message. All I need you to do to get that message is text me at the following number. My number is 305-384-6894. When you send me a text at that number, every single day you're going to get my daily motivation message that is going to keep you focused, sharp, and on point every day, guaranteed, or your money back straight to your phone every single morning. Now, again, that number is down below in the description. Now, why am I talking about this topic right here, how to stop giving yourself excuses? Now, for those of you who have been following me for some time, you know that one of the main tenets of the whole work on your game philosophy and some other stuff that I got coming very soon I'm putting together is making sure that we're holding ourselves accountable. Self-accountability, self-evaluation, taking ownership, extreme ownership of everything that we do in life, making sure that we're being mentally tough, that even when there's a setback, even if it's not your fault, you're taking responsibility for it. And I talked about this in an email that I sent out probably in late October. I detest victim mentality. I detest anyone who chooses to paint themselves as a victim of a situation, of a person, of a circumstance, of some words, of some outcome that they didn't like. I detest victimhood. Victims are not welcome here. All right, if you came here as a victim, you won't leave as one, or you're going to leave very quickly as one. If you stick around, you won't be a victim. You stay here long enough. And giving yourself excuses is a way of making yourself a victim. You're using the excuse as the thing that is stopping you from getting to your outcome. And I'll tell you why I'm talking about this. Because I put this video out on YouTube it's probably maybe around 2015, 6-7 years ago. And there was a video talking specifically to basketball players about coaches who play favorites. Because this is a topic that has come up a lot over the years, especially when I was doing all basketball material and talking to more basketball players more regularly. Players would say, well, Dre, I'm working on my game. I have game. I feel like I'm good. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but coach is not putting me in a game. Coach is not giving me playing time. What do I do in that situation? So I made several videos over the years, and this one that I put out in 2015, I'll tell you why I'm bringing that specific one up in a second. Well, I'll tell you right now. That video, I was explaining to players, and I said something along the lines of, listen, don't use the excuse of coaches playing favorites. If you're not getting the playing time you want or you're not on the team, there's something that you're doing or something that you're not doing that is leading to that situation. And the essence, the idea, the spirit of what I was saying was not that it's impossible for a coach to play favorites. The spirit was you take ownership of the things that you can control, which is your performance on the court. You cannot control what is going on in the mind of your coach, or if anything is going on in the mind of your coach. Maybe they are hating on you. Maybe they are playing favorites. Maybe they're not. Maybe they will even openly admit that they play favorites. That is not an excuse for you to not do what you need to do. I mean, what are we going to do when you die? We're going to put it on your tombstone? Well, this guy would have played in the NBA, but his career ended in middle school because the coach was playing favorites. All right, what are we supposed to do? All right, what are you going to do with this situation? Are you just bringing it up so you can complain about it? Are you a victim of the situation? What are you going to do? That was the essence of my message. I didn't say it so articulately back then in 2015. I said it pretty well, but I think I got better over the last 6 or 7 years. But anyway, in that video, the comment section to that video, I would often get comments from people. Some of them, I guess they call themselves being advocates for athletes. Maybe some of them are a parent. Maybe some of them are players themselves. Maybe some of them are, again, many of them, I guess, call themselves being advocates for the athletes. Well, yeah, coaches do play favorites because I saw this happen and this happened. And I know this happened to my brother and this happened to this person. And just recently, there was a specific comment that got my attention that led actually to this episode. Someone left a comment and they said something along the lines of, they work like around sports. I don't know what sport this person was referring to, but they were saying I work around sports. They're not actually a player or a coach, but they are around sports teams in the youth. And they have noticed, and they pointed out some examples, some anecdotes that they gave of coaches specifically playing favorites, and maybe even admitting verbally that they are coaches admitting that they are playing favorites. So the person was saying to me, well, you're very wrong because I know this example and this example of coaches playing favorites. So that proves that your whole argument is incorrect. That's not what they said in so many words, but this is the essence, again, of what this person was trying to get across. And even though they don't know what they're talking about, I'm glad that they said it anyway, because it provided me material for talking about what I'm going to talk about here today, because people seem to be missing the fucking point. So I'm going to make sure that I make the point here in this video. Point number one, topic once again, is how to stop giving yourself excuses. Let's put something on the table. Do unfair things happen in life? Do people play favorites? Are people bigoted, racist, homophobic, xenophobic, chauvinistic, negative, haters, idiots, dummies? Do these things exist? Of course they do. All of these things have always existed. All of these things exist today, and all of these things will exist tomorrow. They are never going away. Does everyone understand that? All of these things exist, they have, and they will. They are never going away. All kinds of things happen in life. They can happen and they will happen. And some of those things are happening right now. You might not even know about it. The essence of my point, now make sure I make it clear right now, is that despite these things, keyword, despite these things, you don't allow them to be your excuse. I will not accept them as your excuse. You will not use them as an excuse. And remember what game that you're in. You're in a game of life. I don't care whether you play a sport or not. You're in a results-based business, not an excuse-based business, not a narrative-based business, not a story-based business, a results-based business. No one gets paid for the story of what they could have did. No one gets results for what they might have done had everything worked in their favor. Only thing anyone gets rewarded for are the results they produce. For everything else, you get absolutely nothing. Well, you get to tell yourself a story, but what's that worth? If you're playing on a sports team and you're not getting in the game, don't blame the coach that you're not getting in the game. Even if you have a solid reason to believe that the coach is the reason that you're not getting in the game, here's what I'm saying anyway. Don't blame the coach that you're not getting in the game. Yes, you heard what I said. Even if you believe the coach is the reason you're not getting in the game, don't blame the coach that you're not getting in. Even if the coach told you, you're not getting in because I'm playing favorites and you're not one of the favorites, I'm telling you, don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as an excuse. Yes, you heard me correctly. And I'll explain to you why. Your performance is the thing that you can control. You can't control the mind of your coach. You can't control the mindset of your boss. You can't control the hating people in human resources. You can't control the people in your industry who are trying to block you because they don't like you because you're female or because you're a certain color, because of where you're from, or because you're from a different neighborhood than them. You can't control any of that. The only thing you can control is you. So if you want to blame anything for your lack of success, blame yourself, because then you can do something about it. If your lack of success is blamed on anything other than you, then the problem is that lack of success may perpetuate and stay there forever because you can't do anything about any externality that you don't have control over. You can only do something about the things that you can control. Everybody understand? In episode number 1879, I told you externalities are not excuses. So this is not a new idea. And I said it way before then. I just did a whole episode on it, episode 1879, over damn near 200 days ago. So do these things happen? Of course they do. When you believe that politics, people playing favorites, racism, sexism, your past, or anything else is out of your control is the reason for your lack of success, your failure, guess what? It will become the reason for your failure. You will fail, and then you'll be able to tell everybody, well, I failed because people were sexist. People were racist. The coach was playing favorites. Okay, that's fine, but your career is over, so what are we supposed to do with that? And what are we supposed to do with that story? That's the point that I'm making here. You get where I'm going here? So when you run into people, like this commentator that I'm referring to, I don't know who this person was, who said, well, yeah, people do play favorites because this happened, and they're backing up your story of people playing favorites, let me ask you a question. How is that helping you? How is it serving you? How is it going to move you forward? How is it going to help you get on the court? How is it going to help you get on the field? How is it going to help you get to the next level? How is it going to help you get paid? How is it going to help you take care of your family? How is it going to help you pay your bills? You can't answer that question because it's not going to help you at all. So when you accept the excuses that you make up or the excuses that someone else verifies for you, all you're doing is making yourself weaker. As the saying goes, when you argue for your excuses, you get to keep them. So when you run into somebody like myself, and people like me are few and far between, there's a lot of us, but compared to the wider population, it ain't that many. You run into somebody like myself who's telling you, listen, hold yourself accountable for what you can control, even if someone else is to blame for the situation. What I'm asking you to do is develop some mental toughness. I'm asking you to have some balls. I'm asking you to toughen up. I'm asking you to take ownership of the thing that you're doing, the thing that you said you wanted to do. In episode number 1796, I told you, get some balls. All right, and if you're around people who are giving you excuses or feeding your excuses or co-signing your bullshit excuses, they are taking your balls away. All right, they're taking your agency away. They're taking your ownership away, and now you're going to be a slave to your own excuses. Is that what you want? I know it feels good in the moment, but is that what you want in the long term? Think about the long term of your life, not just the short-term emotions. Think about the long-term results that you want. In episode number 1658, I told you about the benefits and the responsibilities of ownership. In episode 1243, I told you about taking ownership of your business, and your business is your life. Your whole life is a business. Your sport, if you play, is a business. Everything you do is a business. You must take ownership of your business, and you got to take ownership of all of it. In episode 994, I told you about taking ownership of everything that you touch. If you play a sport and you're not getting your opportunity, take ownership of that. If you have a job and you're not getting your chance, take ownership of that. Even if it means quitting the job and getting a different one, you take ownership. You do something. Don't wait for them to do something. You do something. Episode 1879, again, externalities are not excuses, people. We do not accept externalities as excuses because you can't control those. And what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Every time something outside of your control is in your way, well, what you going to do? Just let that stop you and do nothing? When you accept excuses, you are proving yourself right and you're setting yourself up for failure at the same time. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to stop giving yourself excuses and stop accepting them. Be different than the 90%. I mean, this is the idea. 90% of people, and I'm being generous, is actually closer to like 97% of people just like to make excuses. They will take any externality as an excuse to let themselves off the hook for achieving what they say they want to achieve. Sometimes, honestly, can I be honest with y'all? Sometimes it seems like many people would rather just fail than take ownership of their situation. Many people would rather just fail. Why? Because if they fail, they have a story they can tell. They have an excuse where they can sound like a victim and they can get some sympathy from the peanut gallery, and they don't have to keep trying. They don't have to do the work that is required to keep trying. They don't have to have the balls required to keep trying. They don't have to have the mental toughness or the accountability or the discipline required to keep trying. So they rather just fail and have an excuse for it so that they don't have to keep trying anymore. They can just lay down and just be average for the rest of their lives. Most people would rather fail. Now, not people who are listening to me right now. If you're listening still to this point, you're not one of those people, but I'm talking about everybody else out there. All right, because again, as I tell you many times, this material, what I talk about, this ain't for everybody. People want to fail and have a convenient, acceptable excuse for their failure. A lot of people want this. Most people will not admit to this out loud, but this is what most people want in their lives. And this is 100% true. Look around in life, you'll notice it. Many people would rather have excuses to fail than have reasons to succeed. Most athletes who don't make a sports team find creative ways to blame the coaches, other players, politics, somebody playing favorites, their parents, rather than owning their performance and just saying, you know what, my performance wasn't good enough. I need to get better so I can make the roster next year. You want to know how many messages I get where players say that versus how many players say to me, haters, players, other players, politics, somebody playing favorites, the coach is dumb. You want to know how many I get of one versus the other? For every one message I get from a player telling me that, hey, you know what, Dre, I need to step my game up and get better for next year, I get about 11 or 12 messages from players saying the coach is hating on them. So, yeah, close to about 90%, as I said. Because that is the issue. No, it doesn't matter if those other elements exist. See, if your issue is the coach is hating on me, well, it doesn't matter what your performance was, right? So now you don't have to do anything. It's just they have to do something. And I've talked about this from so many angles here on this show, especially in the last year. If your problem, the thing stopping you from getting success is outside of your control, that means you don't need to do anything. It's just everything else outside of you needs to change. The problem with change, for a lot of people talking about change these days, the fight for change and they're protesting for change, is that they want everybody else to change, yet they're going to stay the same. No, so I'm going to stay exactly the same, but all of y'all need to do something different. That's bullshit. If you want things to be different in your life, like Michael Jackson said, start with the man in the mirror. Start with the person that you're looking at in the mirror. Leaders, look in the mirror. Followers, look out the window. Which one are you? Remember that life is a performance and a results-based business. The only thing you will be measured by in your life are your results. Nobody measures you by your stories. Nobody measures you by your excuses. They only measure you by results. And if you don't have any results, you won't be measured because you won't be mentioned. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to stop giving yourself excuses. Make sure you get some not friends in your life. Yes, you heard me correctly. I said not friends. You need some people in your life who do not have the need to be your friend, but they are in your circle. In other words, people who will keep it real with you, people who will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear, people who will look you in your face and tell you something that will make you uncomfortable and not give a damn how you feel about it. And you need to have the mental toughness to take it and keep that person around, because that might be the only real person around you. That person might be a parent of yours. That person might be the coach who's got you on the bench. That person might be your boss. That person might be your brother or sister who you know is going to be honest with you. That person might be your friend who you might get in arguments with all the time, but opposed to your other friends, this is the person who will tell you to your face what you need to know about you instead of saying it behind your back. That person might be the podcaster who tells you what you really need to hear, even when you most don't want to hear it, because everybody else has been co-signing your bullshit excuses. How many not friends do you have in your life? How many people do you have in your life who will look you in your face or tell you directly, hey, you're giving yourself some bullshit excuses. This is actually what you need to hear. Let me tell it to you, and I don't give a damn how you feel about it. Do you have anyone in your life who fits that description? Most people can't answer the question. I covered the subject of not friends in episode 1031, by the way. You need people around you who will not accept your bullshit. The problem for most of you is that you don't have anyone in your life who won't accept your bullshit. Everybody just accepts your bullshit. And the funny thing is, the more successful you have been up to this point in your life, the more bullshit you can get away with, because everybody wants to be cool with you because of the success you've created. Now, when you don't have any success, then everybody's willing to be your not friend because they don't need you. You ain't got nothing to offer. The more success you have, the more vigilant you need to be about making sure you have someone around you who has your ear, who will tell you what you need to know and doesn't need to be your friend. The more successful you become, the more you need people around you who don't need to be cool with you. You should burn that one on your brain. These are the people who will tell you to stop with the bullshit, stop with the excuses, and will push you to take ownership of your situation, even if the situation is not your fault. The disclaimer to this point is that these individuals that I'm laying out, they are few and far between. So if and when you come across one, you better hold on to them until or unless you find another one to replace them. Don't leave one without getting another one. Because people like you who will take what they say and actually take it to heart and actually apply it, they are also hard to find. It's hard to find people who will give it and hard to find people who will take it. These people can be found in places like podcasts, coaching programs, in books. In other words, you find them doing the things that successful people do. Ironic, right? Let's recap today's class, which is how to stop giving yourself excuses. And this idea was sourced from a video I made for basketball players years ago of telling players stop making excuses about your coaches when you are underperforming, which is probably the reason why you're not playing. And so many people, not most of the people, but a fair number of people have argued with me and said, well, coaches do play favorites. There are reasons why some players aren't playing. So you're wrong for saying that you shouldn't say that coaches play favorites. Well, listen, if that's your excuse, well, that's probably the reason why you're in the comment section talking about what happened to you 20 years ago and nobody knows who the hell you are. You never made it in sports. The fact that you gave yourself excuses and now you're indoctrinating the next generation to be a loser like you, using excuses for your lack of success. All right, we don't accept that over here. Over here, work on your game, that is not accepted. I don't give a damn what your reason is. Let's recap. And point number one, do these things happen? Yes, all kinds of things happen in life. All right, the essence of my argument is that despite the things that happen, as long as you're alive, you don't allow them to be your excuse. If you're an athlete and you're not playing, don't blame the coach. If you're at a job and you're not getting a promotion, don't blame your boss. I don't care if politics, people playing favorites, racism, sexism, your past, anything else out of your control is the reason, and you can prove it. Even if you can prove it, don't use that as the reason why you're not succeeding, because you can't control those things. What can you control? That's your focus should always be on something that you can control. If you have an excuse, you will prove yourself right and you will fail at the same time. Is that what you want? Point number two, be different from the 90% of people. Most people would rather fail and have a convenient excuse than put it on themselves to figure out a way to be successful. All right, most people find creative ways to blame something outside of themselves, an externality, rather than owning that their performance or lack of performance is the very thing that is holding them back. Remember that life is a performance-based business. You will only be measured by your results. Nobody's measured by excuses. Point number three, get some not friends in your life who will not accept your bullshit. Somebody who will tell you to your face exactly what you need to hear, not care how you feel about it, and don't need to be your friend when the conversation is over. See, this is the biggest problem that many of you have, is that the only people you have around you are people who need to be your friend. Therefore, they can't tell you anything, because if they tell you something that you don't like, you just won't hang with them anymore. And then your problem is you won't have anybody telling you any truths in your life. And eventually that's going to take you down the wrong path. And this is what 90% of people in life do. It's actually more than 90%. I'm being generous here. How many people do you have in your life who will tell you what you need to know directly to you, not sideways? They don't sugarcoat it. They don't dance around it. They will tell you directly what you need to know directly to you, and not give a damn how you feel about it. Do you have even one person in your life who will do that? If you do, you need to go find that person and keep a relationship with that individual, because they are hard to find, and people who are willing to take it are also equally hard to find. Ask yourself if you have anyone around you like that. If you don't, which you probably don't, by the law of averages, I noted many of you do not, you need to go find one. Now, let me tell you where you can get one. First of all, if you want to get my daily motivation text every morning, I'll send it straight to your phone to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. My number is 305-384-6894. And secondly, my group coaching program, the Bulletproof Mastermind, is wide open. If you want somebody who will keep it real with you, be honest with you, and does not need to be your friend, that's me. Join the Bulletproof Mastermind at workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that's the 3rd-day mastermind at the same link, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.